Hey, how you doing, guys? So we're back with another Star Wars reaction video. If you're new channel, welcome. So this one is called Every Single Lightsaber Type Variant Explained. Now, if you look out through like Star Wars, both Legends and like the games, Clone Wars, like TV shows, movies, and the video games, you're gonna see like different like types of lightsabers. Like, you know, just the standard like single bladed lightsaber, and then there's like the infamous double-sided lightsaber. I mean, the one who pretty much made it like really well known was Darth Maul. And then if you guys see on the thumbnail, there's one with the pike, so like on a huge long staff. First time I ever saw that kind of lightsaber was in Force Unleashed. I forgot, it was like one of the Emperor's honor guards that was like wielding it. I think it was called the Shadow Guard, that was wielding a red lightsaber with that. And another one, a cross guard, that was shown in by Kylo Ren. He's like probably the one who like made it well known the most, and it was also shown on the video game Jedi Survivor, because Cal Kestis did wield that type of lightsaber. Like you have the option to. So there's like many different types of lightsabers, and we're going to be checking them out. So without anything else, let's jump into the video.
Lightsabers are highly coveted weapons for several reasons. When Luke Skywalker first held Anakin's lightsaber, Obi-Wan Kenobi told him it was an
elegant weapon, but a more
civilized age.
Ever since then, the mystery and lore around the weapons has only grown tenfold. Today we will examine every single lightsaber type and variant throughout Star Wars
there's a
canon
blaster
and
lightsaber.
Legends.
I remember that.
Grab some popcorn and get comfortable, because there are roughly 40 to get into. We begin with the standard single-bladed lightsaber we all know and love. What's there really to say that hasn't been said? The standard laser sword consisted of a plasma blade powered by a naturally grown kyber crystal that was emitted from a usually metal hilt and could be shut off at will. It was a weapon that required skill and training, and was greatly enhanced when used in conjunction with the Force, being synonymous.
So basically,
with
it is like the
Jedi
most common version of the lightsaber. So that's
invention
like well known.
25,000 years before the Skywalker saga, in which powerful dark side energy was channeled through laboratory-grown Ebon crystals in glowing energy blades. Force sabers, like later models of lightsaber, came in a variety of colors. Because of its ties to the dark side, ancient Jedi were at risk of succumbing to it with each and every use of the Force saber. The proto-saber would later be developed and used by the Jedi Order based on many of the basic principles of the Force saber's technology. The main difference between proto-sabers and later lightsabers was that the hilt was connected via cable to an external power pack due to limitations in technology at the time. These lightsabers had limited operational time, and the mobility of the user was restricted by the cable.
So you cut that cable, it's done.
The retro saber, however, was used by one Jedi much later on, improving proto-saber technology with modern materials and engineering. The resulting weapon greatly resembled the original proto-sabers, but far exceeded their abilities. A retro saber was just as potent as modern lightsabers. The primary advantage was that modern belt-mounted power packs allowed for a brief power surge, creating a more powerful blade for a short period of time. A dual-phase lightsaber was a lightsaber that contained 2 or more kyber crystals, allowing its blade length to be extended or shortened in the middle of combat. Darth Vader's lightsaber was an example of one. This weapon type allowed a wielder to rotate crystals into a new alignment with the push of a button to change the length of the lightsaber's blade. This lightsaber variant was also considered by the Jedi to be outdated by the time of the Clone Wars. It was seen as an artifact from a more violent time period. Training lightsabers were non-lethal weapons used to practice lightsaber combat. Training lightsabers of various kinds were often used by Jedi younglings in the temple on Coruscant before they underwent the gathering and built a weapon of their own. It was also possible for normal lightsabers to be tuned down so they could be used in this fashion. Shoto lightsabers were scaled lightsabers whose blades were considerably shorter than normal. They were used by shorter combatants like Yoda, whose stature made it impractical to wield a full-sized lightsaber, and also as offhand weapons for duelists who employed twin-bladed techniques as part of Jarkai, like Ahsoka Tano. Some would also opt to use 2 Shoto lightsabers in a dagger-like fashion, such as the 10th Brother Inquisitor. Tonfa lightsabers, sometimes referred to as guard Shotos, were a rare perpendicular gripped type of short lightsaber
from Force
with a
Unleashed.
second handle extending from the main hilt at 90 degrees. Though it could be gripped by either hilt
There she
when
is.
wielded with the perpendicular blade, it was especially useful at blocking other lightsabers. Maris Brood, a once Jedi Padawan, took to using a pair when she crossed paths with Starkiller. The double-bladed lightsaber, also referred to as a saber staff, consisted of a single hilt with an emitter at both ends, resulting in a weapon that was wielded in a similar manner to a traditional staff. The double-bladed lightsaber was first invented by Dark Lords of the Sith Empire and was far less common among Jedi due to its primary purpose, allowing for a faster rate of attack and unleashing a rapid assault with minimum movement. Special training was required to wield the weapon effectively, with those attempting to use it without such discipline likely to bisect or impale themselves. The hinged double-bladed lightsaber featured a hinge.
Oh,
in
this
the
one's
center
really
of the
cool.
hilt. It folded for easier storage, and one or both blades could be activated while the weapon was collapsed, the parallel blades being able to trap the blade of another lightsaber. Some Jedi Temple guards carried this style of lightsaber, as did Jedi General Pong Krell, who owned 2 of them. The lightsaber pike had 2 different variations. The first was essentially just a double-bladed lightsaber. It was the most common weapon of the Jedi Temple guards. The second version of lightsaber pike resembled a spear in many aspects, with a far longer handle. At the end of the handle was a lightsaber blade that was shorter and thicker than a normal one. The weapon was often longer than the wielder's body and could keep enemies at a distance, giving the advantage of a longer reach. The double-bladed spinning lightsaber was specifically designed for the Imperial Inquisitors and was capable of both single and double blades, and could spin in a circular motion when both blades were emitted. The weapon suffered from a number of design flaws. If given the opening, an opponent could cut through the disc from the inside or outside of the ring, causing the weapon to fly apart if spinning. You could also willingly use them to fly and escape an encounter. Curved lightsabers, like Count Dooku's, were often seen during the prime of Form 2 lightsaber combat. The use of curved hilts allowed for more precise movements, as well as near-perfect flexibility when engaged in lightsaber-to-lightsaber combat. The hilt's curvature also gave the wielder more power when delivering overhand strikes, and would change the angle of the attacks by the merest fraction of a degree. Unfortunately, curved hilt lightsabers were generally more difficult to use in blaster bolt deflection. Split sabers were a type of double-bladed lightsaber that could split into 2 separate lightsabers, allowing a user to have the option of switching between a double blade or dual wielding with Jarkai. The Darksaber was a one-of-a-kind weapon constructed by the only Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order. It had a unique blade that was shorter than that of most lightsabers and shaped like a traditional sword. Its overall profile was distinctly Mandalorian, with an angular pommel, handguard, and split-shaped blade emitter, all of which was made out of Beskar. It was respected by Mandalorians as a symbol of leadership. The crossguard lightsaber was an ancient lightsaber variant with 3 blades, a primary blade and 2 vents just below it.
Yeah, like I said,
the
here.
blades of the secondary emitters were produced by a specialized power modulator that utilized a splitter to produce 2 very short blades. During the High Republic era, some featured a physical crossguard made from metal without having any additional energy blades. The forked lightsaber was a more rare variant of the crossguard, only with 1 smaller blade. Kylo Ren's crossguard lightsaber was slightly different, as it served the purpose of channeling extra energy produced by its unstable and cracked kyber crystal. The broadsaber's hilt made a blade that was broader and flatter than a standard lightsaber's
Oh, I've never seen this one before.
blade, and as such, gave it a profile that was closer to that of a traditional metal sword. The broadsaber provided a larger overall surface for the blade, while losing
Design
the
looks
advantages
cool.
of an omnidirectional cutting edge. Saber canes were a simple variation on the standard lightsaber, merely being
it was
a
seen
hilt
once.
concealed by
Yeah,
the
there we
handle
go.
of a cane. The primary purpose of the saber cane was to act as a concealed weapon, a convenient place to hide a lightsaber. Light whips generally functioned on the same principles and mechanics as lightsabers. However, rather than the straight blades emitted by standard lightsabers, light whips featured longer, flexible blades that often exceeded several meters. Instead of 1 large crystal, they contained multiple small crystals, and the plasma in the blade had no cell barriers to keep it straight. The flexible nature meant that light whip users had to take more care during use than when wielding a lightsaber, as the wielder had to pay attention to where the tendrils were going so that they did not lose a limb. The lightsaber
Indiana Jones would
blaster
like this.
hybrid was a type of lightsaber hilt equipped with a blaster. The short
Ezra
range
had it.
stun bolts it could fire caused some shock, but were not as effective as a blaster or lightsaber blade. Ezra Bridger used one to make up for his lack of skill early on in his training. The lightsaber rifle was a type of rifle designed to work in conjunction with a standard lightsaber. Once a lightsaber was properly loaded into an open slot as ammunition, a lightsaber rifle could produce an overwhelmingly powerful and destructive beam of energy. The weapon could fire at least 5 shots before the lightsaber being used as fuel melted beyond usage, at which point the empty rifle began to smoke. One was kept at the Jedi Archives and was used by Jocasta
Yeah, I saw this in the
after
comics.
Order 66. The Far Killer took this even further. It was a one-of-a-kind sniper rifle which used lightsaber technology and allowed its user to take out targets from 100 kilometers away. Its user and creator, both Jedi, were declared apostates by the High Council as a result and exiled. The sickle-bladed lightsaber, according to legend, was wielded by the Sith Lord Darth Noctis. Unlike more traditional lightsabers, this variant featured a curved blade, making it resemble a metal sickle. A lightsaber gauntlet attached to the user's arm, and when activated, emitted one or more lightsaber blades. The idea of a lightsaber gauntlet was a concept designed for Revenge of the Sith, and was nearly wielded by Plo Koon. Light foils were small and elegant energy swords based upon lightsaber design. Each one was a work of art, lightweight and balanced. It was wielded with one hand as its petite and elegantly designed handles attested. Non-force sensitive
kind of like a
nobles in
fencing
parts of
sword.
the galaxy used light foils in a similar way to metal foils for fencing. The Light Club, also known as a great lightsaber, contained special focusing crystals and power systems, enabling it to project a blade up to 3 meters in length. These large lightsabers were generally used only by beings of immense stature. Gork, a mutated Gamorrean guard, and Dark Jedi used such a weapon. The lightsaber Parasol was a Sith lightsaber created by Koru, a female Sith
like an umbrella.
who led a bandit group. It functioned as a single-bladed lightsaber when she used only the hilt. With its attached Parasol auxiliary, it produced multiple red plasma blades in a manner that resembled an umbrella, particularly when she spun it to create a shield. A flicker phase blade was a lightsaber that had been modified to allow its blade to ignite and extinguish at random intervals. Although combat with flicker phase blades could be more difficult than an ordinary lightsaber, it was challenging for an opponent to effectively block the weapon, a fact which caused the Jedi and Sith to generally view them as dishonorable and unsportsmanlike, much like the lightsaber form Trikata, which involved powering a lightsaber on and off to bypass an opponent's blade. A lava crystal lightsaber contained a special lightsaber crystal
this is an extremely rare crystal.
Planets like the hellish world of Mustafar. It generated a blade that resembled lava. The crystal itself was less focused and concentrated than normal crystals, therefore lava itself was generated from the extreme heat of the dense, heavy blade, creating bits of flame and lava that sometimes splashed and dripped out of the blade itself. A bifurcating, cyclical ignition pulse lightsaber had the ability to be activated underwater with the help of 2 crystals. Without special modifications, a normal lightsaber submerged in water would short out and would require minor repairs before working
Kit Fisto.
again. Invented by Jedi Master Kit Fisto and recorded in the Great Jedi Holocron, this modification became widely used by Jedi Knights during the Clone Wars, where battles were fought on the water worlds of Kamino and Mon Cala. Luke Skywalker would discover that his father's lightsaber was waterproof, adding the feature to his own weapon and making it a part of regular design for the students of his Jedi Academy. The Tage Proto-Blade was a plasma weapon created by the Tage Corporation to replicate a lightsaber. The Proto-Blade took the form of a gauntlet. When activated, it ejected an edged physical blade, energized with plasma by a power source, giving the blade a yellow glow. Despite its lethality, the Proto-Blade was not as energy efficient as the lightsabers it was modeled after and required an external power supply. Eric Ismarin might take the cake when it comes to insane lightsaber variants. This guy had 8 lightsabers surgically implanted into his body, along with subdermal armor pads which protruded from his elbows, forearms, wrists, and knees, almost like lightsaber armor or even skin. Lastly, we must give an honorable mention to the octo-bladed lightsaber wielded only by LEGO Darth Maul. But do let us know down in the comments which rare lightsaber variant is your favorite and which you would choose to wield if you were a Sith or a Jedi. Come join us to chat more at our community Discord server.
Alright, so there you guys have it. So that was every single lightsaber type and variant explained. Now, to answer his question at the end, which one I would wield, I personally would choose the split saber because I see like a huge advantage, and this was like seen in the game Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. If you guys haven't seen my playthrough, go check that out and you'll see why. So there are certain advantages when it comes to the double-sided lightsaber and the single-sided lightsaber, because the single-sided is really good when it comes to like focusing on one enemy in the game. I'm talking about just game-wise, and but however, you can't deflect as many bolts at the same time and as fast as the double-sided, because the double-sided blade is like perfect for deflecting so many like laser bolts at the same time, and also it has more rapid attacks, as you mentioned. So when you're like up against so many enemies like at once, it gives you the advantage and gives you the edge of winning. So I want to be a little bit more like versatile and flexible on my options when it comes to like those kind of situations, because who knows, you might be stuck in a situation where you're only stuck with like one type of lightsaber and it'll give you the disadvantage. So split saber would be my answer, and on top of that you could dual wield it too. So I mean, there's so many options with that. So there's like 3 different options when it comes to that type of lightsaber. So that's my choice. So put it down in the comments below which one will be your choice. So again, that's gonna be it for today. So if you watched the video to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another Star Wars video. Thank you so much for your support. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.